We are ready. I'm ready. So we'll pull Henry off his phone call there and everyone. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bruce Stensley, President and CEO of the Economic Development Collaborative. This is, I believe, our 24th annual meeting. And unfortunately, we are not doing this live and no one is. We're going to get there someday soon, I hope. But meanwhile, we're going to stay safe and do this all by Zoom. I got 3 quick points before we get started. Everyone, until you are designated and invited as a speaker, please put yourself on mute so we don't have any background noise going on. If you're a speaker and you know the flow of this meeting, be prepared to unmute yourself so we're not waving at you saying you're on mute. I'll probably do that and violate my own instructions here. And if you have any technical difficulties, we have a whole team of experts and professionals. At the bottom, you've got a chat box. If you just drop a note into the chat box feature and say, hey, I need technical support or whatever you need, the team, far more talented than the rest of us mortals, will guide you through. And it is my honor with that to turn this meeting over to our 2020 EDC Chair, Nan Drake. And I'll say one last thing. We're expecting everyone to hang with us for about an hour today, because when we get to the end, we're going to have a toast. So we're going to tell you a couple of times we're going to end the meeting with a toast. So I'll tell you now and we'll tell you again. Nan, I'm out of your way. The meeting is yours, please.
Thank you very much. It's welcome to Zoomland. I'm sure all of us are veterans now at doing this. But again, you know, our meeting is always so wonderful once a year. And we apologize that we're going to have to Zoom, but as I said before, you are probably all used to Zooming, so it's just another norm, right? I am Nan Drake. I work for E.J. Harrison and Sons, and sometime known as the Trash Queen. So this meeting today is really about our staff, the people who are the backbone at EDC, who carry the load. On a normal operating year, they carry the load incredibly, but add the COVID to it and dealing with all of the relevant areas that deal with COVID, the businesses that need help, businesses are trying not to go out of business, ask us for help. So we really have a lot to be thankful for. We know that many of you out there have had the same hardships, and our heart goes out to you also because of that. With that, I would just like to say a few things on my own. I said, and that's, this is an incredible organization. It's an organization that brings business and elected officials together to work in cooperation. It doesn't mean that we always agree, but we basically always get to a good solution that's best for everyone. And when I talked to one of my favorite people, Cheryl Heitman, who is a previous council member from the city of Ventura and a previous chair here. I said, so tell me, what do you think EDC is all about? And this is what she said to me. EDC provides a unique and invaluable opportunity for local government and the private sector to share information and ideas on an equal footing and in a meaningful way, always looking for ways we can work cooperatively and help each other. I'm going to send this to Washington, D.C. I hope it works. I just want to say that it's us working together that with the staff is what gets us where we are today. Well, again, this is all about the work, and I'm sure many of you already have our 2020 impact report. You've all read it, so you know what we've accomplished this year. It's really over the past 3 years. I mean, more and more has been put on the shoulders of this organization, beginning in 2017 with the Thomas Fire, helping those who were struggling to rebuild, myself included, but my home is all done and it's beautiful. So I'm happy. But anyway, with all of this going on, it's been business as usual, as normal. So we've expanded our capacity to serve more businesses than we ever could have thought we'd ever do. We've added webinars and resources and sorted out all kinds of problems for people. There's mountains of federal, state, and local resources and guidelines and new laws, but we've really managed to do it all. And with all of that, again, because of the leadership, and especially Bruce Stinsley, who manages to fly back to Sacramento and give them some ideas of what to do. So he's really a statewide leader. Anyway, we are a provider of information, of help. And with that noted, I would like to also thank the entire EDC board and staff for their support in my role. You're also appreciated. And I'd also want to thank all of our outgoing members and our new members for 2021. Cheryl Heitman is outgoing, as mentioned before. Roseanne Mikos, also for several years of service to the board. Gary Cushing from the Camarillo Chamber, Will Berg, City of Port Hueneme, Manny Menares, City of Fillmore, and Michelle Newell from Faceta. We're also going to be recognizing some new board members today. Stephanie Caldwell, Ventura Chamber, Tracy Perez, Visita, Daniel Groff, City of Moore Park, Randy Haney, City of Ojai, and of course, a very, very, very special remembrance for Tony Skinner, IBEW, who we recognize in our impact report, but we can't say enough about this gentleman. I've served on the many boards that have made EDC possible, and he served on every one of them with me. So he was around forever, was invaluable, and we are going to miss him tremendously. So with that, I think I can turn this over to Kelly Long, correct?
Thank you, Nan. You're such a hard act to follow, let me say. Watching you in the last 4 years of being on EDC, it's been a true pleasure working with you in regards to businesses and Ventura County and how do we make sure that our businesses are moving. On behalf of the full board and community, we also appreciate your professionalism. Your whole career, you've been committed to business and the public-private partnership in Ventura County. And I just want to thank you, my fellow board members, for confiding, for the confidence in which you provide our staff for EDC. And I hope to serve you all well as chair. Just a couple minutes ago, I was elected as chair and will be honored to serve our community and all of you, along with Harold Edwards, who will be from Lyman Air Company as our vice chair. And then Peter Zerhut, our Haas Automation, will be our secretary treasurer. So hopefully with our officers this coming year, we will be able to keep up with the 2020. It was an unprecedented time and we're still going through it. And I just really appreciate everyone's hard work on it. We do have a long way to go in recovery. And for EDC, I know I'm confident that we are ready to address head on what will likely be a radical change of businesses, our landscapes. And I know all of us are in the front row witnessing all of these changes that our environment is going on. And even regionally, just appreciate what we're doing. Bruce Stinsley, both the state with all the different loan processes, working with the nonprofits and our businesses, we're going to be continuing to do that. And I just wanted to say, here's what we know and here's what we pledge to do for EDC for next year. As you know, again, the challenge is not over and that we have long ways to go, unfortunately. But we're assured that we're in it with you and for you for the long haul. We're there and we will continue to be dedicated, honored over 3 straight years of various disasters, starting from the Thomas Fire, which we all know. Unfortunately, that's now number 6 of the biggest fire in California. And we're going to be supporting our business resiliency and the adoption of, to facing crisis, because we're really good at that in Ventura County. And we're going to continue to monitor, to stay up on, and we're going to interpret it. We're going to connect businesses to new and fast evolving resources available for your support, like you've seen in our webinars and our hotlines and answering all the questions. Also to recognize that there's not, and never has been one path or one solution for business recovery, but that we're going to be diverse in how we serve our businesses the best we possibly can. Because through crisis and disasters, we are made stronger. We make more connections with our community and more interdependent and appreciative for our partners that are working with us and all of you in the private and public sector. So I just want to say, we hope that 2021 is an even better year than 2020, that we'll be able to provide more resources to our businesses as we get vaccines and as we get past COVID-19, and that we really move together to grow this economy and help those that live here. So first, I just want to make sure we hit 3 things. First is just to keep an eye out while we haven't this year organized this as a public event. We're on Zoom. We appreciate that should we be together, that by the end of the year, we may organize something for an event for all of us to really network, because that's what this is about, is networking. Second, thanks again, Nan, for all the work that you've done and that you're doing to restore the Ventura County economy on track. I love your trash queen. That is it. Whatever you are doing, you own it and you go for it. I love it, your passion. And
Thank you for the beautiful flowers. They were delivered just minutes ago. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad you got those. And third and last for the moment, along with Nan, I want to thank the hard work of our staff for this past year. It's just been amazing sitting on the Board of Supervisors and hearing all the great things that are happening, and then on EDC. It's just really out of the box thinking of how we can get to the businesses. So I want to say thank you. And with that, I'm going to pass this along to our President and CEO, Bruce Stensley, for some more detailed information. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much, both Kelly and Nan. Leadership in Ventura County and the public and private sector, really proud to serve with you. So for today's meeting, we're going to do something different, something that we really have never done before. And that is, as Nan introduced the meeting already and as echoed by Kelly, so we're going to focus a little bit more, a lot more than we ever have before on our staff. We're about a team of 10 or so, grown, almost doubled in this last year. It feels a little self-indulgent to talk about ourselves, but let me say 3 things about that. First, before I get into the individual staff members, they wholly have earned and deserved some recognition, working so hard. And we recognize that if we're working hard, obviously the impacts are far greater for our businesses and our service partners. We're not pretending that we're healthcare, that we're food share, working to make sure that people who are losing their jobs, we wholly respect and are thrilled to be partners and recognize the leadership there. But we're bearing a certain amount of this burden that gets passed on to us. And it's not like we haven't signed up for this. So we know what we're getting into. And it's not like we haven't received some recognition. So I first want to say a huge thanks to Visita. Last week recognized this as part of our FathomWorks partnership with Naval Surface Warfare Center, Matter Labs, and the Port of Hueneme. A huge appreciation for that. Earlier today, just bragging a bit, the Oxnard Chamber of Commerce recognized us. Tracy Perez, excuse me, not Tracy, I'm thinking a whole nother group. Selena from Cal State Channel Islands. And Nancy, thanks a million for the recognition, so appreciated. So we're getting some recognition, but the other point that I really want to make before we get further is we didn't just work harder this year, and we didn't even actually work just smarter this year. Rather, we had to really completely reinvent our structure, the manner by which we produce product, and ultimately, frankly, our identity. We rediscovered, or had to rediscover actually, what is our purpose. So we know that fundamentally our purpose is that we are a group that provides, in collaboration with SBA and others, and so appreciate Victor Parker's leadership there. We identify and help interpret for business the resources and help them identify strategies to survive and thrive and grow. But it's also been so much more than that. Part of our mission and part of our identity has really been about instilling just resilience and confidence in the business owners with whom we engage, some 2,000 of them this last year, to make sure that they're finding the ways, the courage to innovate and fight in resilience for this kind of an experience. And obviously, third on these set of points is we do none of this alone. We don't do anything that isn't within the context of working with our partners, our board's leadership, And at the risk of not mentioning a few folks that I could accidentally forget, and I've got a list, but I'm not going to read it all, not least of which would be the cities and the county have each economic development leads. You know who they are, or the cities and you know who you are individually. They've been a team meeting on a weekly and even twice a week basis early in the pandemic, and been a partner with camaraderie and service and strategy, even while they've been on the front lines of providing services and answering the phone calls and doing all the things that land in City Hall, and just so respect and appreciate that. Our partners, Women's Economic Ventures and SCORE, like us, taking a huge brunt of this. And that's not to even mention yet, but I will. VCETA, the SBA is a partner, the Workforce Development Board, and all of the chambers of commerce. When I listened to the Oxnard Chamber event earlier today and their installment of new members, their message was almost the same as ours, which is, oh my God, from the board level to the staff saying, thank you, so appreciated by us, and I'm sure so appreciated by them, and recognizing what a challenge it is to survive and work through this. And my last thank you, and then I'll get into the staff, is for the community, Ventura County Community Foundation, which was a huge funder for us and a partner and a huge ally. So I'm going to do this rapid fire, but I can't go too fast because we're going to bring up each of our staff in a picture. So I'm going to start with Kelly Noble, our office manager. Not Kelly Long, Kelly Noble. I see Kelly Long. I'm looking for Kelly Noble. And I'll start talking about Kelly Noble while I do that. Those of you know Kelly, know that Kelly Noble for what, more than 15 years, is the heart and soul of our organization. This year, what Kelly did, I'm looking for her, is set a tone for a work ethic that was tireless and consistent and unfatigable, and just maintaining her focus on the prize of continuing to come and get the work done with an incredible attention to detail. You know that she's a partner with Shailene Heyman, who is our controller, and the two of them are our entire fiscal staff. And while Kelly's doing all of that fiscal work, what we're really doing is, with Kelly, is sort of the mother of the organization, and nothing happens as the nerve center of the group. So Kelly, just a huge thanks to you. I'm going to move on after a thanks to Kelly Noble, is a thanks to Shailene Heyman, our contract controller. So Shailene does work for all sorts of folks around the community, not least of which is us. But she's been our EDC controller longer than I've been the president of the EDC, and that's starting to say a lot about perseverance and commitment. But here are a couple of things you should know. With the proliferation of resources that we were able to identify and secure in partnership with SBA and the Department of Commerce and the state of California and banks and private foundations, we just had a ton more to do. And we did that with Shailene and Kelly's leadership, and Shailene especially, just seamlessly. We started the budget, as I mentioned in a meeting earlier, with about a $2.3 million budget and bumped it up to $3.3 million, and did that without a hitch. And we needed those resources. We needed the efficiency to secure them and move through it. And we've done that. And I couldn't be more proud of that fiscal team. So pause, and I'm moving on to Alondra Gaitan. She's our client services manager. So I don't even know where to start here, but I'm going to try. I would say skillfully bilingual, multicultural, and joyfully young. You're going to see a theme here that comes up. We added a lot of youth to us this year, which helped us immensely. But Alondra's been with us for several years. Alondra exudes leadership. She may not like that I'm going to mention this, but for an example of her leadership and all things that relate to that, in her high school years, which weren't that long ago, 4 years running, class president. I don't know if there's anybody else on this call who can claim that for 4 years in a row, their class said, you're the one, she's it. One of the fundamental things that we do is we run the Small Business Center. And so we have about 2,000 business clients that we're providing in-depth service to, and about 30 business advisors that we'll tell you about later with Ray Bowman. And we've got to network those guys. Alondra is the nerve center of that, to make sure that the traffic is being directed. She has help, but making sure that we're connecting the talent of our business advisors to the talented businesses that are looking for help. And she manages all of those complex relationships and moving parts with skill and aplomb Without her, we don't succeed in any way. So thanks a million. Her ally and co-conspirator in all things is Stephanie Gonzalez. We call her our client services specialist. Stephanie is the very definition of customer service and grace under fire. I can't say that enough. Customer service and grace under fire. She's also bilingual, a translation expert, but Stephanie was the lead on a team that took some 14,000, or I think it was more like 17,000 hotline phone calls this year. And actually most of those were in a couple of months, going back March, April, May, when all this stuff hit the fan, right? And so we're getting calls, and she led a team, by the way, of about 8 advisors and staff and part-timers that we brought on to do this. Now, those calls were about technical issues in business, about access to resources, but you can imagine what they also were business owners who were completely stressed out. They had panic in their voices, their businesses and lives are falling into disarray. They were seeking not only information and resources, but solace. And the perseverance, the patience, and the kindness to manage those calls was led by Stephanie, and she just rocked it. Can't say enough about it. Partners on her team for this included David Price, also client services specialist. Now, David came to us early in the year as an intern from Cal Lutheran, but he became so valuable when pandemic struck. We put him to work as a part-time employment with 2 very different responsibilities. One, along with Stephanie and Alondra and team, was answering all these phone calls. Young guy figured this out, quick on his feet learner, was able to deal with these complex and personal and business questions. But also because he's a data and a math whiz, we put him on the back end of what we launched this year under Ray's leadership. Think about this, in the middle of this pandemic, we launched the nation's only statewide SBDC network, a back-end data management system, transparency for identifying what kind of client activity was happening and especially what kind of outcomes are being generated. And David backstopped this in updating that information for us on a weekly basis. And the learning curve and the youth that recognizes there's no task that can't be figured out and accomplished was done. And we're that player for the state of California. Zach Skura, moving along, just got a few more here. Zach also adding to our youth and sense of adventure. We call him our surfer entrepreneur. We'll have to explain that a whole nother day. Came to us as an intern, I think, a couple of years ago. And of course, when everything crashed and burned at the beginning of COVID-19, we had access to this talent base. So I can't encourage enough for every business in the world for having interns, because who knew they were going to become such an incredible, valuable resource that we were able to bring on. Zach was on the phone tree with Stephanie and with conscientiousness, sensitivity, managing this crush of calls. And now David and Zach and Alondra and Steph are actually formed as a team to be sort of our client customer service relation managers, assuring that we've got this seamless, focused attention to all of our client activity and connecting to our advisors. Shifting quite a bit, we have Bill Bartels, film liaison and business advisor. Bill serves a couple, or I should say, excuse me, more than a couple roles for us. He's an extremely busy business advisor, literally hundreds of clients, for which he's providing strategic planning advice, public permitting navigation, all things in between there and around it. And he's also our Film Commission film liaison. So we have this wild cacophony, sometimes we call it, of labor, of occupations, of properties, of talent, of industry experts looking for opportunity in the film industry in Ventura County, where they come and dump money into the region. Bill navigates that. And what we most want to emphasize there is one of the principles by which we live at EDC, which is public-private partnership. There are 30-some permitting agencies for film permits in Ventura County, and Bill is the master in customer service and navigating all of that stuff to happen. We don't do the work, but we make sure they all get connected, and Bill is the heart of that. Vicky Miraz. Vicky, our loan program assistant, another new hire this year. Customer service expert. She, in the loan program, led an effort this last year, just to stop and think about this, to connect with every one of about 80 loan clients, during this crisis to get in touch with them, make sure that we were sensitive to the crisis that they were facing in their business, but also maintaining that relationship as a manager of risk so that they were still paying their loans to us as a lender, and negotiating and navigating and interacting with business and doing that light on our feet with attention to detail, working with Marvin Boateng, who I'll mention in a minute, our loan officer, or excuse me, our director of lending. Now, Marvin has a certain perspective in life that you have to appreciate if you know Marvin. I'm not quite going to Marvin yet, but to give you an idea of how valuable Vicky is, Marvin refers to Vicky as Batman to his Robin. Now, for Marvin to defer that role of Batman, you know this is something big. Moving on to Marvin. Thank you, Vicky, for all your work. Marvin is our director of lending. I think everybody's met Marvin, been with us something like 8 years. But I think, and I say this with all seriousness, I think with confidence that Marvin may have the most difficult job of all of us. So he is working on lending resources, alternative lending when a business can't secure private commercial credit. And we've got a whole team of financial advisors that he works with to make sure that we are being smart and engaged and informed and a loan board and working with businesses. But while we're trying to make loans into this environment, there's never been a more challenging period of evaluating whether or not a business is actually going to survive. Is it a good bet? Is there a means for us to make that as an investment? We're motivated to do that because we want to invest in business and create opportunity for business at all opportunities. But we have to do that while we manage risk. And that is an incredible thing that Marvin does. Meanwhile, Marvin is the family man extraordinaire. And I just want to give a shout out to his little kids and to his wife, a Kaiser nurse on the front lines. So it's a whole team there. And we appreciate that Marvin has time within that context to devote it to us and Ventura County businesses. Tracy Schneider, it's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Tracy. Communications and marketing coordinator. She is the last and not least of our new hires this year. She started with us also as an intern a couple of years ago from Cal State Channel Islands, and we had an opportunity to hire. This was one of those moments when she came to us recommended by her faculty and a faculty advisor as I quote unquote, a must hire. We were smart enough to take that advice. We've already referenced, I think, the enormous amount of clients we serve and information that we navigate with them, but we could not do that if we didn't have the team, that is Tracy, along with Claire Briglio, who you'll meet in a moment, who are sifting through these mountains of resource. Victor from SBA will appreciate this, as will others and my friends at the chambers and other organizations. Paycheck protection plan lending, economic injury development loans. And these things come out and they happen overnight, and the rules change today and they change again tomorrow and they change again the day after that. And to keep up with that and to convert that into intelligible material that allows our business advisors and our clients to navigate all that, just knocking it out of the park. So I'm going to introduce Ray Bowman, our Small Business Development Center. He's going to have a couple of minutes to talk, and then we'll turn it over to Claire, and then we hop into a couple of businesses. But I got to say two things about Ray. One, and I say this with no hesitation at all, that Ray is the best small business development center director in the nation, hands down. By the best, I mean he's built the best model, recruited and managed the most deep and diverse team of advisors, and he's the most productive and outcome oriented. By his leadership, we literally led the nation in all SBDC service centers, I understand, is creating the most new capital infusion for our clients and accessing new funds to fuel their enterprise. Think of that. We're Ventura and Santa Barbara counties. We're competing in that sense with Silicon Valley, New York City, Dallas, and Houston, and you name it, and we're outperforming those regions in our Small Business Development Center in these two counties. Second, in the midst of pandemic, you just have to laugh out loud. Ray earned his doctorate from the University of Grenoble. Now, of course, he started that a little before the pandemic, but he finished it in the middle of the pandemic. He turned his dissertation into a top flight publication in the global professional literature featuring our center's innovative, what we call collaborative learning model. And we're not just leaders in productivity because we work hard, but because of Ray's leadership in research and data-informed strategy. Ray, you got the floor for a few minutes, please, and I'll take a breath.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bruce. And again, at the EDC SBDC, business growth and economic development, in our mind, is a contact sport where direct business engagement is key to our success and the success of the businesses we serve. And in support of that idea, again, we touched over 17,000 firms last year alone. We provided over 12,000 hours of one-on-one technical assistance to over 1,800 businesses. So that's one-on-one intense technical work. In addition to that, we provided training for over 3,000 attendees in over 67 training events, which was just a huge scale up from what we've done any other time. All of this resulted in us being one of the highest performing SBDCs in the nation, fostering over 105 million in capital just in the last calendar year alone. We also got heavily involved in innovation and thought leadership in conjunction with our state and national partners. So some of that thought leadership, as Bruce mentioned, we published a nationally recognized research piece on the SBDC program and what drives success in that program. We just completed the largest panel survey in America on entrepreneurship during the COVID crisis. This was up and down the state of California. We had over 21,000 detailed responses from entrepreneurs. On an ongoing basis, we provide data analytics through analytic dashboards for all 49 SBDCs through California. This is an ongoing effort that we do, updating these analytics every single week. As well as we did research on international trade and middle skilled jobs, identifying the gaps in supply and demand in the workplace and international trade. We also created this agile client services business model that not only helped us to scale up our SBDC, but helped us enhance and intensify the types of engagements we have with our area's small businesses. But finally, and most importantly, the secret to our success and the impacts of our small businesses is driven through not only our staff, but our team of, I call them advisor entrepreneurs, that use their dedicated skills to help our small businesses grow and sustain themselves. And our staff of advisors is much more than just experts in marketing and social media and Lean Six Sigma and finance and pricing and data and networks and organizational development. They're much more than just those skill sets. The real secret sauce is how they believe in our mission. They really, truly, everyone in our staff believes in our mission of supporting small business and recognizing that they're the engine to our economy. And there's no greater mission than enhancing someone's workplace. We all spend so much time in our jobs and in our work and recognizing that most of our employment comes from those small businesses, that we have a staff and crew that really believe in that mission of providing that kind of support. So, you know, it's so much more than just a group of advisors. It's that dedication to that idea that we're making an impact, and every one of us believes in that mission. So, you know, here's to being blessed by being surrounded with not only talented advisors and staff, but talented entrepreneurs. Every day we get to experience the quality and the innovation and the drive that makes up our small businesses in Ventura County. So, you know, there's much a part of this team as anyone else in our staff or advisory. So my hat's off to them, and it's such an honor to serve. And so again, I think I'll turn this over back to Bruce for the next introduction.
Thank you, Ray. If you go to our website and click on About Us, there's actually a tab for advisors, and you can see all about them. I've got one last but not least. Introduction is Claire Briglio. Long served as an EDC business advisor, but starting in response to the Thomas fire, Claire 3 years ago came on staff with her full title, I love this, Communications and Business Disruption Services Director. We normally like to call her the Communications Director, but we keep having these dang crises, so she is kind of always the Communications and Business Disruption Services Director. What Claire has been is absolutely relentless in seeking out the tools, the resources, and support of our team and our businesses, interpreting their value, getting the information out, organizing webinars, updating web resources, and making sure that we don't just have information, but we have useful, translated information that gets into our businesses and advisors' hands. In the middle of this, just one more parenthetical remark, we launched a whole new web page in addition to our ED Collaborative, that is Business Forward Ventura County or Business Forward VC. We haven't had as much time to dwell and focus on that. That'll be another day, but it's just an example of excellence and commitment and perseverance. Claire, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Bruce. I think it's safe to say that with leaders like Bruce and Ray, our team is never, ever not busy in and out of disruption. So thank you for all those opportunities. I just want to say it's been an honor to work as a business advisor for 7 years and as business disruption resource director through now 3 federally declared disasters the past 3 years. And what we've observed over time during these multi-layered disruptions, environmental, civil, and economic, is the incredible, yes, I'm going to say it, resilience of our business community and our own ability to move and pivot our organization as needed. That takes a tremendous amount of internal strength, and our team has it. I often get asked by others if our team ever sleeps. And the short answer is no. I certainly didn't through the first 3 months of COVID. And our ability to gather information, clarify its meaning to business owners, and distribute it to partners, staff, and stakeholders is critical in moments like these, as most of you know. And I could not do what I do without the tremendous support of our staff and our advisors. And I want to thank you specifically tonight. There were days, many days, where I felt like I personally wasn't doing enough. But when I look back at the past 3 years and see the incredible change that has occurred from rebranding our organization, credit to all the board members present, to becoming the local leader in business assistance and reliable local, state, and federal aid during disruption, I realize how far our team has come and how much we have built together. We are not just supporting the business community, we are also supporting our business resource providers, our partners, and we have stronger partnerships with them, and we now consider them friends. I'm proud of the work we have done in collaboration with many of them to expand our outreach in the Santa Barbara region specifically. In a moment, I will introduce the first 2 businesses that we're highlighting tonight. It occurred to me early this morning that these businesses, like all of us, did not have a choice in finding themselves in the middle of a massive disruption. And our choice, like theirs, is to embrace the moment, lean in, and learn what can be gained from it. I believe that is a core strength of an entrepreneur, and it goes well beyond resiliency. Recognizing the opportunity in disruption is the very heart of being a business owner. It is my pleasure to introduce the owners of Treasures of Ojai, Mason and Katrina Sexton and Amanda Castro, and one of the many EDC SBDC advisors that have been involved in their business advancement, Erin Frederigal. We will hear from her after them, and then we'll hear from EDC Loan Fund Director Marvin Boyton. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katrina Sexton, owner of Treasures of Ojai. Treasures of Ojai is a 5,000 square foot antique collective. We specialize in vintage jewelry, clothing, and home decor. I purchased this business in 2004 after retiring from the oil industry. My goal for the transition was to spend more time with my family and to have a fun, profitable business. This was the beginning of a long journey. I attribute my success to the ability to adapt to change and not just stay a status quo. I knew the path forward would be to raise the bar, a founding principle that always guides my decisions. Treasures of Ojai has been a pillar of our small town community for almost 30 years. I am super proud to be part of this family business. And now I'd like to introduce you to my son, Mason, who is going to talk about our experiences with the EDC. And Mason is currently operating and managing the business along with his partner, Amanda.
When the Thomas Fire hit, for a brief moment, we thought we lost it all. The night of the fire, Amanda and I had to evacuate 3 times to 3 different locations. Fortunately, our business and the majority of downtown Ojai remained. Representatives from the SBA and the EDC found us day 1, it seems like, before the smoke even cleared. We met Claire in a small trailer in the dirt outside of City Hall. We were still in shock from what had happened to our community and our vendors, 3 of which lost homes in the fire. We initially applied to the SBA disaster loan and was not approved. I vividly remember an emergency meeting with Katrina and Amanda. We felt defeated. We had to choose to keep going, even though it felt like we wanted to close. And that's true, we did. In that moment, we chose to fight for our family business. On that day, our relationships with each other and our business changed. We committed to taking any help that we could find, and what came was the cavalry from the EDC. Bill Bartels helped us with a back to basics approach. Through his guidance, including several anecdotes from his friends all across the world, one time including Antarctica, I don't know if that's true, but I think it is, we came to a new game plan that began with analyzing the operation cost of a square foot. We came up with a new business model that would have a hand in the past and a hand in the future. It took us every bit, every day, every hour, it seems like, of working with Marvin and Tony Elliott, who were generous with their time, to help us secure the disaster loan through the EDC. After our financial assistance was finally approved, we were able to implement a complete overhaul of our back of the house operations. I'm happy to say now, almost 3 years since the initial meeting, we have successfully launched a new point of sale system. We've digitized our inventory. It is able to sync with the new checkout in the store and our digital presence. Our checkout process and bookkeeping is significantly quicker. Inputting the monthly sales, a task that used to take me 2 full days, now takes minutes. I can monitor everything from my phone. As of January 2020, after 2 years of work, we were fully operational. Here's my partner, Amanda, to talk about last year.
On March 16th, we had another emergency meeting. COVID-19 proved to be another devastating blow. This caused our business to grind to a halt and our family to quarantine. We've gone through many hardships over the past 5 years, including the near fatal accident of Katrina's husband. But this time we had a plan and we had help. This was a time to recalibrate and expand our brand. We launched a complete redesign of our website within 6 months. This was something I believe would have taken us 2 years. The constraints of COVID hit the retail community of Ojai, closing businesses in its wake. However, we knew that our hard work would be our saving grace. COVID accelerated a new era of business protocol for Treasures of Ojai. We created a new system of online appointment booking, virtual accessibility, and a robust social media platform. We were not very good at this. Enter Aaron, a fountain of knowledge and a wizard of spreadsheets. Aaron is giving us a behind-the-scenes boot camp of our new ecosystem. She is bridging our quirks and personalities of our business to the foundation of a modern business. Even with COVID still raging, our conversation is no longer, will we close? It has changed to how do we grow? How do we add jobs and how do we expand? Katrina built a legacy that Mason and I now get the pleasure of translating and sharing with you for a long time into the future. Check out our awesome website to see more of what we offer and book an appointment to come see us soon. Thank you for recognizing Treasures of Ojai during your annual meeting. For those that we have worked with, we sincerely thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for those kind words. My name is Erin Fredrigill, and I've had the amazing opportunity to work alongside Treasures of Ojai. 10 years ago, having a functioning e-commerce website and social media presence for a small business was a nice to have. With our current environment and the present forces that have caused so much turmoil and instability to our small business economy, it's become a non-negotiable. For businesses that didn't already have an online presence, it's become a life preserver to help them stay above water. And for companies that already had an online presence, it's become a foundation that they've built on to accelerate their growth and maximize their potential. Treasures of Ojai was no exception to that rule. With the ongoing disruptions of a pandemic and a significant store remodel, setting up a functioning e-commerce site to facilitate online transactions and limit in-person interaction was something they needed yesterday, not to mention a social media strategy and presence to attract new customers and re-engage existing ones. That's where my role as marketing advisor, or as I like to think of it, interpreter, storyteller, dreamer, and accountability coach come into play. We got back to basics and defined the fundamental elements of the strategy to inform and drive all of their marketing efforts moving forward. And that included clearly defining their customer personas, conducting a competitive analysis to determine their unique value proposition, and modernizing their brand story for relevance in today's market. Given their extensive inventory of pieces that reference so many moments and cultures in our world's history, I quickly found that the key to clarifying and modernizing their message was curation, curation, curation. That meant curating collections that speak to their target audience's favorite home decor trends and styling items in a new way to help their ideal customer visualize how to incorporate more pieces with character into their wardrobe or home design while simultaneously fulfilling their shared values of breathing new life into previously owned pieces and refusing to give in to the never-ending cycle of throwaway fast fashion and cheap furniture. We then translated these elements into social media strategy that they'd be able to keep up with given their limited resources, and we integrated inexpensive software to facilitate their marketing workflow in the implementation phase. I led them through the process of creating a content calendar, advised on how to batch create and schedule social media content to maximize their time, and shared recommendations for optimization based on the performance reporting provided by their social media management software. We also worked together to ideate and execute their first Facebook advertising campaign, which delivered unexpected results and stirred on even more excitement for the future ahead. Throughout the arduous process that Treasures of Ojai and many other businesses have endured in the past year, I can say confidently that the primary driver of their success was their grit. Amidst construction disruptions and unexpected problems that rear its head at the last minute, they've proven that they're the epitome of the adage, fall down 7 times, get up 8. They've demonstrated the childlike mindset that every entrepreneur needs for success and that will continue to propel them towards their goals, which is the humility to ask and receive help when they need it, the openness to adopt new technologies in their business operations for relevance and efficiency, and the unending resolve to just keep swimming without allowing their darker seasons to tarnish their hope and resolve of continuing the legacy of Treasures of Ojai in the community for years to come.
My name is Marvin Boatin, Director of Lending for the Economic Development Collaborative. The purpose of the EDC loan program is to facilitate business access to capital. Our foundation as a loan program is rooted in providing access to capital to businesses in the worst of times, starting with the Northridge earthquake through now the COVID pandemic. So we embrace this challenge. Despite the difficult lending environment we encountered in 2020, we remain grounded and pragmatic in our lending philosophy of in-depth technical assistance, underwriting, and insight from our loan board. We do this to ensure that every dollar we lend is saving and/or creating a job. As a result, we doubled our lending output year over year, $1 million in capital, but most importantly, we helped retain and create 140 jobs in our region. Special thanks to our bank partners, City National Bank, Pacific Western Bank, Union Bank, CIT Bank, for providing us with capital, loan loss reserves, and operational support. We also thank the Economic Development Administration for providing us nearly $2.5 million loan capital to help small businesses in our region. In 2020, we partnered with the city of Camarillo to establish a $1 million loan fund to support small businesses in Camarillo. We're also indebted to the city of Ventura for allowing us to administer their program for over 15 years now. Today, the EDC loan program has more capital to lend than any other period in the EDC's history. We understand that we have a lot of work to do, but we're also very excited to have a stake in our region's recovery. Thank you, and now back to Claire.
Thank you, Marvin. It is my pleasure to introduce our second and last business success story this evening, Arista Hire, Arista Learn, and co-owners Robin Burrow and Jalissa Estrada. We will then hear from EDC SBDC advisor, Tony Elliott.
Hi, I'm Jalissa. I am co-founder and COO. Robin Burrow, my business partner, will introduce herself in a minute. First off, we want to thank the EDC for helping us with this journey. It has been amazing. We love you guys. So what Robin and I do, we have one company, two divisions of our company. We have Arista Hire, which is our technical recruiting side, and then we have Arista Learn, which is our technical training. Between the both of us, we come with a combined 30 plus years experience in working with large companies like Kaiser, Chevron, USAA, Verizon, and Walmart. And we've also worked with the Navy. We started our venture back in January of 2019. And by August of 2020, we had landed a 10-year contract with Verizon and Social Security Administration. We are going to be training 100,000 employees for the Social Security Administration on a fancy telephone implementation that they're doing. We also have an indefinite contract with the Navy, and we actually sell our project management and technical training to the Navy as well. And then we also have another accredited, we actually are accredited to sell with our IT leadership program with our GI Bill. And we run that through Illinois Valley Community College. So with all that, I'll hand it off to Robin, and she can discuss our amazing journey with the EDC and how much we appreciate this venture.
Thank you, Jalissa. And I echo Jalissa's sentiment. We just love the EDC, and we are so grateful. And I cannot wait to share some highlights. So 2 questions I wanted to address was just how has COVID affected us? We started virtual training via WebEx in 2007 before VoIP was even very stable. And we had to coax thousands of relentless learners on how to use a voice over IP headset. So this time, the economic climate downturn chaos has actually been fine for us. It's very sad, but for our business, it's just been great, actually. Also, Jalissa and I used to travel all the time to see our clients. So though we really miss our traveling adventures, we are saving some money. Hey, staying home, doing everything virtually. I want to share a little bit about our journey with EDC. When we formed, we had already worked together in a previous company, and we loved each other so much, we're like, let's do this. So we started meeting with venture capitalists and bankers and M&A people, just trying to figure out our way, because we did have a pretty nice client list. We're trying to figure out how to leverage that. I signed up with the EDC via online, and I was very quickly responded to and introduced to Anthony Elliott, who is amazing. Anthony met with us. He helped us with our financials, our dashboards. He immediately started giving us all kinds of competitive intelligence and market data that we did not have access to. It was so good and was all free. And then he has proceeded to continue to introduce us to always just the right person at just the right time. The first person we met with was Bill Bartels, and Bill's probably the best whiteboarder we've ever met. Whiteboarder, right? You can take any complex, confusing spaghetti mess to Bill, and he'll organize it. He'll see things that you couldn't see. He'll ask you the right questions. I am pretty sure he's really got some skills in levitation, Bill, because every time we see Bill, we kind of come in heavy with our head hanging down and we levitate the room with, 1,000 pounds off our shoulders. We've also had multiple meetings with Erica Bristol for legal guidance. And Erica is our voice of reason. So she can take any legalese, anything that's complicated, break it down for us. And she always provides a very safe space for us to ask the question 5 times, 5 different ways. She never tires and she's always there for us. She's just so smart and savvy and really, really helpful. At another critical venture time when we thought we were going to lose it all. So we'd been plugging away. It had been 1.5 years. Nothing had come in yet, but we had these huge contracts in, and oh my gosh, I was losing backbone on it. So we were, Anthony introduced us to Doug, and let me see 1 second here. So Doug Corte. So Doug is like a superstar coach. At halftime, when the other team is winning and you go in with the superstar coach, Doug is the one that says, shape up, you can do it, hold your own, where's your backbone, go get them. And we did just that. We straightened up and we fought and we won. And Doug, I just can't thank you enough. That one meeting was really sort of a fork in the road for us. We, at the end of the day, every time we meet with an EDC person, you all give us the right counsel. You give us the right counsel. And in 30 plus years of business, we've paid many, many consultants in other ventures who actually kind of took, oh, thank you very much. You are a gentleman and a scholar. And it's an honor to work with you and be associated with the overall collaborative. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Tony is always here for us. He does not sleep. He does call us night and day. As Julissa and I are walking this through with Claire and Kelly, the thing that we came to is that the EDC tends to be in our court sometimes more than we are in our own court. And we just can't thank you enough. We're really excited about where we are today. I don't know if we would have had the courage to persevere. So thank you. And I can't wait to continue the journey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Tony Elliott. I'm a licensed California and New York State certified public accountant. I'm a forensic auditor specializing in intellectual property royalty audit. Over the last 6 years, I've been an EDC, SBDC business advisor and consulted with a vast number of Ventura and Santa Barbara County small business owners on a broad range of business, accounting, tax, and financial related topics. I thoroughly enjoy my association with the EDC. This organization provides a valuable service to the Ventura and Santa Barbara communities, small business community. So, on the matter at hand, Arista Hire, LLC. My first session with Robin and Julissa was nearly 2 years ago in April 2019. This was shortly after they formulated Arista Hire, LLC. The initial consult and scope of work centered around business product, business startup assistance, and access to capital. For a period of time, and as we drilled down and further defined the scope of work, other members of the EDC advisory team participated in this client engagement, including Bill Bartels, also known as EDC's business model mind mapping expert, Erica Bristol, an exceptional intellectual property and business transaction attorney. Doug Cortez, business strategist extraordinaire. Also during this process and behind the scenes, there were periodic consults with EDC Director Ray Bowman, EDC Loan Officer Marvin Boltan, and EDC Banking Advisor Gonzalo Fernandez. This was a collaborative team effort. I refer to these individuals as members of the EDC A-team. I believe Ray Bowman did an exceptional job of onboarding a group of over 30 plus consultants in a broad range of business disciplines. So how did the Arista client consult evolve? After 2 years of focused and dedicated effort, in August 2020, Arista Hire LLC, a Ventura County women-owned small business, signed a 10-year, multi-million-dollar telecommunication contract with Verizon and the Social Security Administration to provide system training to over 100,000 employees nationwide. Wow, this indeed is an exceptional small business success story. The EDC A-team congratulates Arista Hire, and we thank Robin and Jalissa for allowing us to play a role in this process. Let's offer a virtual toast to Jalissa and Robin for their business success. Back to you, Bruce.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Arista Hire. Thank you, Treasures of Ojai. Thank you, all of the advisors, team. These stories could go on and on. Those are 2 stories out of some 1,900 clients that we engaged with this last year that were so impacted in so many different ways by COVID-19. And inspired by the notion of bearing down, of innovating, getting efficient, we could go on. So our next little gig here for this meeting is we're going to drop you into a brief 5-minute group chat. You don't have to do anything other than keep your eye on your screen. You should have a prompt that says, go here, click here, agree, something along those lines. Our notion is simply, since we can't get together and we're having a little fun with the Zoom group chat, let's throw everybody into a handful of rooms. There won't be many with you, just to say hi. You don't know who you're going to meet. Hopefully you meet somebody new, you meet some old friends. We'll come back in 5 minutes. We'll do just one of those today. And then we are going to have some last recognitions, and we're going to do a toast to a better 2021. So this is your near last opportunity to grab your beverage of choice, whatever that may be. Claire, are you going to take us into the chat room? So hit join, should be in front of you. Telling us what to do. So Supervisor Chair Long, the meeting is for you for final recognitions and a toast and an adjournment.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Bruce. And I hope everyone is as motivated and inspired as I am right now. What great work our EDC staff is doing. I wrote down some of the comments that people were putting on the chat, and I just wanted to highlight a couple. One said the entire team of EDC is simply the best. I cannot say enough good things. Amazing advisors, incredible insight, well done. EDC staff rocks. Thank you so much. Wonderful comments from everybody. I know that everyone is working night and day on all sorts of COVID issues with our businesses, trying to get them running. To be looking at, contacting over 17,000 firms, doing one-on-one work, training, coaching, all the webinars. It just is really impressive what everyone has been able to do from their home office or the office at EDC. Internet, thank goodness for that. Just want to really appreciate the teamwork going on. Also want to just say thank you to all of our partners. As you saw today, we really didn't talk as much about the partners, but our staff and all the great work that is going on. But we couldn't do any of that without your partnerships. I saw SBA is on the line. So many of our businesses that I was looking at our membership. I want to say thank you to every single one of you because you're doing so much for our community. And if you go on the edcollaborative.com, our region is Santa Barbara, Ventura, and Los Angeles. That is such a great population and so many businesses that are there for help. So you could look at the numbers and it's really impressive, and log on to websites and so forth. And also I want to say a thank you, a special thank you. I know this is going long. Nan had already talked about it, but thank you to those board members that served for 2020. Again, we will miss Tony Skinner, and especially to Cheryl Heitman, Roseanne Mikos. I mean, there's just so many. And then also the ones that are coming in for 2021. Appreciate your service. I look forward to working with our officers. And I want to say thank you so much to Nan for her leadership throughout the years. And she could have said, no, I can't be the chair last year. And she just took that on like she takes everything. Really appreciate Nan. I know we have your flowers you said you received, and just want to say thank you about
They're
that.
beautiful.
Good. I know there's some other things coming, so just really appreciate it. And then also I want to just post, I got my extra ginger beer since I have another meeting I'm running late to. But I want to cheers to an amazing 2021. And I hope that all of you are safe and healthy. And cheers. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
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 Cheers. Happy New Year. Thank you,
Cheers,
everybody.
everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers all.
Cheers.
Hey, are you going to say meeting adjourned?
Oh yeah, see, I know Nan's there for me. Meeting is
Nan,
adjourned.
keep an eye. You gotta watch out for Nan. Bye, everybody.
Have a great time.
Thank
Good night,
you
guys.
so
Thank you
much.
all.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.